Desmond Tutu. Without forgiveness, there's no future. And this quote is said by Desmond Tutu.
Desmond was born in 1931 in South Africa. Desmond Tutu has always been a very academic, and as a child he loved to read Shakespeare and other authors. At first, Desmond wanted to be a doctor after he nearly died of tuberculosis, but unfortunately his family couldn't afford medical school. Instead, he became a teacher, but he quit teaching after the conditions for black students became worse. Desmond, for example, had to teach 80 students in only one classroom. Later, he began studying theology and he took his master in England. He moved back and forth to England a couple of times, but when he returned to South Africa in 1976, he became the first black African to serve as Dean of St. Mary's Cathedral in Johannesburg, which is a high position in the Anglican Church. Later, he became Archbishop of Cape Town, which is the highest position in the church. He also received the Nobel Peace Prize and the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Desmond Tutu's role during apartheid was very big. He encouraged people all around the globe to participate in an economic boycott of South Africans' goods in order to put pressure on the white government. He supported the black people so they didn't get out of work, even though it hit the poor hardest. Tutu arranged a peaceful march with 30,000 people onto the streets of Cape Town. Tutu became a bishop, and that was a good position for him because he then was able to continue his work against apartheid with agreement from almost all churches. Tutu was very outspoken and he compared the apartheid with Nazism. The result of that was the government took his passport twice, and then he came in short time in jail in 1980 after a protest march. People thought that it could have been worse for Tutu because of his criticism and protests, that it could have been more violent against him, but he didn't use violence, and that protected him. Tutu began working with ex-vice chancellor of the University of the Western Cape, Professor Jake Sturwell, and they founded the Desmond Tutu Educational Trust. The trust was establishing developmental programs for education.
After apartheid officially ended in 1991, Desmond continued to fight for human rights. He became the chairman of South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, known as the TRC. Desmond Tutu was ideal for the post because he also preaches peace and forgiveness in the church. The commission was created by Nelson Mandela and the rest of the government in 1995 in order to help the people of South Africa come to terms with their troubled past in the apartheid regime. The commission investigated the violent crimes that took place between 1960 and 1994. The purpose of the commission was, as the name suggests, to promote reconciliation and forgiveness among the perpetrators and the victims of the apartheid system. The motto of the commission was thus, "We will forgive, but we will never forget." In order to illuminate what actually happened during apartheid, the perpetrators were granted amnesty if they fully disclosed their involvement in the crimes, and some of the victims got reparations. It was important for South Africa to process the past in order to move forward. The commission has been one of the reasons that a civil war between black, colored, and white was prevented after apartheid. Furthermore, Desmond has become a symbol of human rights, not just on racial discrimination, but also on supporting homosexuals' rights. Although he believed in the Bible, for instance, he has said, "I'd pick hell over an empty gay heaven." He also became a spokesman for fighting climate changes because, as he says, "We fought apartheid, now climate changes is our global enemy." Altogether, he's a very cool fella.